Hello and welcome. My name's Ariella Indigo and I'm your host for the Multidimensional Human Experience Global Summit. So the reason this summit has been created is due to the amount of us who are emerging spiritually, often right from birth, and due to our heightened sensitivities, it's now the case that more and more of us are being given reductive mental health labels and prescribed pharmaceuticals without taking into account our multidimensional natures and the spiritual awakening process itself. Through my own experience growing up and what I've seen with many others also, this linear third dimensional approach mostly serves to erode our self-esteem, dampen our natural intuitive abilities and knock our confidence, which in turn gives rise to destructive behavioral habits like addictions, for example, or volatile emotional reactions, because our realities are not being properly supported and the correct guidance not being made available. And sadly, as we know, some highly sensitive souls are choosing to leave the physical plane or are sadly not able to get up and running so that they can evolve into their higher purpose, again, due to their sensitivities and the lack of solutions currently available, which take into account our multidimensional natures. So this summit looks to address these issues and raise awareness about multidimensional humans, to give fellow empaths, light workers, sensitives, starseeds, and really anybody who's watching this summit some support so that we can confidently align with our highest potential and make a positive impact in the world during this critical stage on Earth and in humanity's evolution. In today's interview, I'm honoured to be joined by Vandana Atara Aura, who's an accelerated light healer, a visionary, a highly gifted intuitive energy healer, spiritual coach, and transformational teacher. She's a divine channel for a multidimensional and transformational healing system known as accelerated light healing, which has assisted thousands of souls to shift out of old paradigm limiting thoughts and beliefs and step up into a higher frequency of self-mastery. Vandana's soul calling is to empower and inspire all beings to navigate the new earth energies of rapid transformation on the planet. She shares her intuitive gifts and clairvoyant abilities as an energy healer, shamanic practitioner, Akashic advisor, and accelerated light master teacher. Vandana, thank you so much for being here. It's amazing to meet you and an honor to interview you. And I'd just like to start off, if I may, Vandana, by asking you to share with the viewers a bit about your story, your own awakening and understanding of being a multidimensional human. I think it's always really fascinating for us to hear this. So I just invite you to start sharing with us on how it happened for you.
Yes, I'm very happy to. And I just want to take a moment to thank you. I'm so grateful for being invited to be on your show and really spreading these teachings, this ancient wisdom for the times that we live in now, these accelerated times of ascension. This is a golden era of transformation. And we're really in the 9th wave frequency, according to the Mayans and the Mayan calendar. So things are accelerating very quickly. And how I started out is, I've always been very aware, very multidimensionally aware of everything going on, and being a sensitive and being an empath. Growing up was actually not encouraged for my superhuman powers, my telepathic abilities. I was discouraged. I was discouraged by my mom, especially, who is also sensitive, clairvoyant, psychic, my grandmother as well. So I come from a whole lineage on my maternal side who is always very aware of what's really going on behind the scenes and what was going to happen even before it happened. So it really has been a process of deconditioning and unlearning all of the suppression and the ways that I was discouraged instead of encouraged from being sensitive and multidimensionally aware of all of the parts of me living in different dimensions and timelines. So basically, I kind of like shut down a lot growing up. Though I was always very creative and artistic and spiritual, um, I went through a very, very intense marriage where I was a caregiver, caretaker, always healing, rescuing, and then it was also labeled as, well, you're an enabler because, you know, you shouldn't be helping this person with their chemical dependencies or their addictions, like you say. But I always felt that I was here for a greater reason, and that my life purpose, my spiritual mission, was actually to help people remember who they are, to empower them, to inspire them, and to help them remember their gifts and what's really unique and special about them. And that's what I did for many, many years. And then it came to a time when it was just like you come to a wall and it's like, okay, I've done all I can do without draining my own energy. So I pulled all of my powers and energies back, because I also do soul retriever work, and it's really important to be aware of all of our soul parts, the fragments that break off when we experience trauma growing up that are still living in other dimensions. So slowly but surely, I started to become aware of these patterns in me, and that I needed to heal myself and take back all of the energy that I was transmitting and sending to my husband at that time. So fast forward, basically, we had a child, and that was another long process of, you know, miracles and magical healing that took place, but that'll be for another call probably. What happened is, after that, you mentioned about labels and about diagnoses and about pharmaceuticals and about putting a Band-Aid, sticking a Band-Aid on our indigos and star seeds and crystals, rainbow children, and my son is one of them. He's now grown up, just turned 26, and, you know, also he's a very different, very psychic, very sensitive, very different, right? And so growing up, you know, it's always been around this pressure to conform and to fit in, to seek approval, and to just be like everyone else. So he did a really great job at that. And the thing is, he's still very psychic, but, you know, hasn't really owned and stepped into and embodied all of his soul sovereignty, like all of his gifts, that his healing abilities. So I tried to do it the 3D way, the old paradigm way, like, okay, well, ADHD and this label and that label, and it's like, you know, it just didn't work. Not only did it suppress all of these drugs, his prana, his energy, his special abilities, it actually worsened it, and it made him more agitated instead of calmer. So I discarded all of that, threw it all in the garbage, you know, bin, and I said, okay, let's do something else. So that's when I decided, you know what, I have all of these natural, organic healing abilities. Let me just do what I came here to do. So I took a leap of faith, took that quantum leap of faith, and I basically became a full-time energy healer. Started out with Reiki, and then I was an Access Consciousness facilitator, and I've been trained and certified in probably about 20 different healing modalities since then, because I knew that this world really needed a lot of healing, and that we didn't come here and sign a contract to experience endless pain and suffering. And so I took these healing tools, helped my son with it, and then discovered he had healing abilities. He has healing hands. And it's like, you know, it's his choice now as an adult to decide if he wants to use his abilities or not, and his mediumship abilities, even to feel like spirits beyond this veil, beyond this dimension, or not. I know he has those abilities. It's definitely in the genes. It's in his ancestral lineage. But, you know, the thing is, we can't really force someone who's not ready to ascend at accelerated speed. But I came to realize that as multidimensional divine creators and infinite beings, we all have this hardwiring. We all have this in our DNA, in our multidimensional divine blueprint We all have these gifts. Each one of us expresses our gifts in different ways. And it's all about healing, you know, whether you're a construction worker, whether you're a secretary, whether you're a doctor, or whether you decide to really plunge into it the way I did and become a full-time energy healer and teacher, and then create my own healing modality after years of following other people's healing modalities. It's all about healing, and we're all in this together. This is, it's called not only the golden age of Aquarius, but there is the Satya, I think it's called Satya Yurga. It used to be the Kali Yurga, the time of the darkness. Now we're moving into the oneness, the unity consciousness, and all coming together in infinite light and multidimensional awareness. So I just found out through all of these years wondering, scratching my head and wondering, like, why am I going through what I'm going through? And also had the 3D human job, you know, the 9 to 5, you know, being in sales. And yes, I was helping people. I was aware that I was helping people to transform themselves from the inside out with physical, like physical beauty, skincare, wellness, Ayurveda. I worked with Deepak Chopra at his Ayurvedic spa. I was aware of that, but it just wasn't enough. And it was really very difficult for me because I really felt like I needed to live an authentic life and walk my talk my walk. And finally, it just came to that point where I had to surrender and take that leap of faith and call back all of my energy pieces, all of my power pieces that I had given away to all of the people that I loved and cared about. And then it was time for me. So it really does begin with us. So that's like the short version of what happened. And about 4.5 years ago, I was on the phone with a friend and we were doing consciousness facilitations, helping people to quickly change their lives with ease and grace, of course. And then one day we just got blasted and downloaded by this liquid laser light, this plasmic photonic light coming from the suns, the stars, and the galactic center. Really, we didn't have a name for it. Now I just call it the nameless light, coming from all of the planets and solar systems, but really coming from the heart of the Milky Way galaxy, this diamond platinum light. And it just feels so good. It's naturally cleansing, just like a selenite wand. If you've ever worked with crystals, it can clean itself. It can care for itself. There's nothing to do to make that happen. So it's self-cleaning or self-clearing. And that's what the light does. It purifies your entire system. And so that happened about, well, remember at the end of 2012 when the Mayan calendar said, the end of the world is coming, you know, brace yourself, we're all going to die. And actually there was,
thought that it said that, yeah.
Yeah, and there were some people that were truly disappointed. They were like, oh, damn, you know, like I was hoping to just leave this planet and take like the quickest exit point. And it's like, no, sorry, that actually was a misinterpretation. There's just a lot of misinformation about this time of the accelerated ascension. And that also is because I always enjoyed being a teacher, and just even as a child playing house, I was always the teacher, you know, with the chalk and the blackboard, like, okay, class, pay attention, you know, because for me, it's about sharing the truth. The soul truth about what's really going on behind the scenes that we're not taught growing up. We just have to unlearn and deprogram and unplug from all of those 3D programs, matrix of limitations and lies and stories. So it's interesting when you ask me, can you please share your story? Because there are so many different multidimensional stories and versions of me that I could have chosen to share with you and your listeners. But I just trust that I am connected to the divine. I'm aligned with source always. So no matter what happens, you know, I'm always led to exactly where I need to be for the highest good of all. And I always set that intention before the start of any healing work that I do. So this is it.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, with the viewers. That was
You're welcome.
Awesome. And I'm really just in awe of you guys, and I'm loving the vulnerability which is being shown and the honesty which is coming through in these interviews. We can definitely connect and awaken hearts through honest sharing, right? The power of the language of the heart is really astonishing. So thank you so much. And I loved also that you shared about your son as well, because I know that a lot of our listeners, if they don't have similar challenges themselves around, you know, being highly sensitive and ADHD, and, you know, there's a lot of autism, as we know, at the moment, then a lot of us are having children who are going through these types of challenges. So I think that is a topic that many of us are familiar with, and feel very passionately about getting new material out there, and you know, new solutions other than the third dimensional ones that I described at the beginning, which, as we know, often reduce and suppress us, as you shared as well.
Yes. So, they don't work in the 5D consciousness and 60 and higher that many of us are already living in. Okay, they don't work anymore because they're meant to suppress our brilliance, our greatness, our light, our creative spark, and our soul essence. They are not meant to enhance it and expand our light, but to reduce it and diminish our light. So that's why they don't work in this time, because the light coming from the galactic center and the great central sun and the Milky Way galaxy and all the 22 galaxies around that, they're meant to illuminate and shine a light on all of our shadows. So that's why many of us are noticing all of this old unresolved karma from the past that keeps popping up. Just when we thought we cleared another layer of it and peeled away another layer of the onion, it just pops right up and bites us in the you-know-what, right? And it's like, oh, I thought I healed that, my father issue, my mother issue, you know, the issues I have with men and feeling lovable and all that. It's because the light is collapsing and melting, really dissolving all of any inauthentic parts of us that are living in this dimension or in any other timeline and dimension, right? Because we're all coming together to just kind of clear all of those discordant energies so that we can embody peace and really surrender to our truth and just speak up, speak our truth, speak out, and just be ourselves. And that's all that we have to do. That's why we came here, really. That's what we really signed up for, is to just claim our happiness and our joy. Just be happy no matter what chaos is going on around us. Because the timelines are also, some people say they're separating, and the light workers going off into another dimension to the higher ones, and then people who are still not evolved or ascended already, they're still operating from the old paradigm, which is basically based on suppression and control. They're going to go off in another place. They're going to go off planet. It doesn't really matter what you choose to believe as your truth, but what I like to say is, let's just merge. Let's just come together in oneness and integrate, right? And so when we integrate and we align with Source, then we speak the same universal languaging, and we can be in the flow with all of these natural changes as Gaia ascends into a star, right? Instead of fighting and resisting, we're just moving into that space of total allowance and acceptance for starting with us. So this work that I do, accelerated light healing, starts from the inside and it radiates outward. It has that ripple effect for all of humanity, so that we can all vibrate from that space of ease and grace wherever we are. So
amazing. So I definitely want to hear more about that, and I know that there is aspects of that in this incredible free gift that you have prepared for our viewers, which I can't wait to share with them a bit later in the interview. So everybody definitely stay tuned, because Vandana has got just an incredible free gift that I'm really looking forward to sharing.
Can I tell you about my name, Vandana, and how I got it really quickly?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a very inspiring story, and I'm not I'm not bringing this up with any, like hidden agendas or like, anything like ego related. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with inspiring other people, because I've been going to receive what's called a darshan, or a blessing, from what's known as a woman named Amma, who's better known as the hugging saint of the world, or the cosmic mother. She's a divine mother. That's what she embodies, this grace, this unconditional love. And I've been going to see her for about 12 years now. And after a couple of years, each year it intensifies, the love expands, and I feel it deeper and deeper in the very center, in the core of my heart. I just am able to receive love. If we are not embodying love and we're not holding that vibration of love, then we can't receive love. So that means we're living in the opposite vibration of love, which is fear. Okay, so every year I was going to see her, receiving her hugs, and at first it just felt good, but it was like, oh, I don't know, this is like, it was only like 2 minutes, and I waited 8 hours in the line to get a hug. Year by year, especially last year, it just became, I was just floating on air. You could say that I was levitating and just really experiencing a slice of heaven. And these energy initiations or transmissions, these divine love transmissions, do last for a long time. So one day it was suggested that I receive a spiritual name. And I thought, oh my goodness, I always wanted a spiritual name, but I didn't know where I would get one from. And I didn't think I should give myself a name. So I went to see Amma this year, about 9 years ago. And she said yes. Her translator said, yes, please come back tomorrow and Amma will give you a name. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm so happy. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful. I went back the next day and I hit a wall after wall, ceilings, walls, boxes of limitations. Every time I asked for a name, I was met with resistance. No, Amma cannot give you a name. I don't know how she even told you that, because she only gives spiritual names to her followers or her devotees at retreats. And this is a place where you only get a hug. And I said, but she promised me she would give me my name. I was really looking forward to it because I knew it would change my life to have this high vibrational name. So long story short, I kept speaking to the swamis and all of her assistants and all of the people who volunteer from their heart to serve her. And everyone kept saying, no, I'm sorry, this is impossible. You can't have a name. But if you want, come back tomorrow. And I said, okay, fine, I'll come back again. Oh my God, I have to be in this force field of love, this vortex of love. I have better things to do, I have to work and pay my bills. And I said, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna put my ego aside, get out of my own way, step out of my own way. And I'm gonna go and see what happens. I'm just gonna be open to receive magical miracles. So I went back again, it happened. I said, okay, I'm here for my name. No, I'm sorry, but you can sit near Amma. And I'm thinking, I don't want to sit near Amma. I mean, I like her, I love her, but I want a name. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she's putting me through this karmic, these spiritual tests. I'm clearing my karma. I'm shedding all of that debris and all of the masks and the armor and the veils. I'm actually able to see myself from a higher perspective and witness, be the observer and the witness of my own story. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, as I'm sitting, receiving love transmissions, not even being able to receive it, because in my head, it wasn't in my heart, it was in my head. I was stuck there, like most of humanity, because that's how we're trained. And I'm thinking, maybe I don't deserve a name. Maybe I'm not supposed to have a name. Maybe I'm unworthy of a spiritual name. Or maybe it's just not my time. I should just give up and just back down. Why am I trying so hard? Why is life so hard? So a greater voice, my higher self, took over. My I am presence was like, you know what? Stay. Just stay and see what happens. Don't be in the future. Don't be in the past. Stay present. look what's in front of you. Look at this beautiful field of love that you're a part of, and just see what happens. So finally, I'm just going to fast forward at the very end of the last day. I went to get my hug, and the Swami called me over, and then I saw Amma pointing in the direction of this big black book, and she's like, in her language. She's from India, right? I don't understand what she's saying. I'm like, oh, am I gonna get my name finally? You know, my ego was like, yeah. And then, but my heart was like, oh, it just felt like a breath of fresh air. And she pointed to a name, and the man wrote it down, and he said, okay, your name is Vandana. And I said, Vandana, I can't even pronounce that name. How do you say it? I struggled for months. What does it mean? He said, it means it's the holiest of holy names that you can ever be called by. And this is a very high vibrational spiritual name, and it means namaste. Finally, I got it. I didn't use it for several years because, I don't know, I kept the name. I still have it. I just put it in my drawer. I was like, I don't know if I'm worthy of calling myself Vandana. I mean, that's not my real name. And then when Accelerated Light Healing was birthed in this reality, the co-creator, Makaya Miracle, said to me, you know what? I think it's time for us to use our spiritual names because it's going to raise the vibration of our spiritual business. And it's going to take on a whole new life so that we can help even more people and transform even more lives. And I said, that feels light, and it feels so expansive and freeing. So ever since that day, this is about 4.5 years ago, I started using the name Vanda, and everything changed. Everything took off, but it was such a spiritual test. It was like a rebirth and renewal. It was like the death of the old me and the rebirth of the true me. And I just wanted to share this story. Never give up your dreams. Like, whatever feels like really hard, like that, whatever scares you to death, push through it, because on the other side is the greatest reward and the brightest blessing. And it's really changed my life, owning and claiming this name in my own life.
Names are very powerful. Names are incredibly powerful. I mean, yeah, I've been through a process as well where I changed my name because I had to embody being an indigo. So, and that was something on my path. So your name, and I've studied in a system, an ancient Hebrew system, is literally creating your reality through the sound vibration of your name.
Wow.
So whenever it is time at a soul level, and you know it, I knew it, there was so much synchronicity. If any of our viewers can relate to this, a lot of them may have changed their names. They might have spiritual names, or they might not feel as if their names belong to them. That is always an indicator that your soul there is a new name that you will transition into. And it will take you through a transformational journey. It's a very powerful part of the spiritual process, and we get mocked for it sometimes by people outside the spiritual. It's like, oh, she's changed her name, you know? All of that ridicule, which is another part of being a multi-dimensional human, right? That we have to go through these challenges, but it is so powerful. And you know that if it's your time to change your name, that is something coming through at a soul level.
Absolutely. And so I still love and honor my birth name, my earth name, Meryl, but it felt very limiting. It felt like, and I never really liked my name growing up. I always wanted to change my name. I never really liked it. But then later in life, I found out that Mer, M-E-R, which are the first 3 syllables of Meryl, means light. And then there's the mermaids, and I love the mer people, the mermaids.
People, yeah.
And I live by the ocean, and so I thought, okay, there are no mistakes, there are no accidents. So this is very interesting. And Vandana, I found out actually, so Vandana, and then I got another name, Atara. And Atara is stars. Yeah. And then Aura is the crown chakra. So when I put it all together, It was like the holy, high vibrational being that wears a crown of stars, that illuminates the world and the planets and all the dimensions and timelines that she resides in. And I thought, this really feels like me. So I just want to encourage everyone, don't listen to the judgment from the 3D world. You know, Meryl just seemed like a 3D name. Like it was great, but I outgrew it. I still have people call me Meryl that know me as Meryl. But when people call me Vandana, it feels like me, like really me.
Well, this is the beautiful part, right, of being a multidimensional human, because, and a lot of people will relate to this. I'm sure that you will. For the first sort of half or the first part of our lives, we have to try and fit in somehow, even though we know we don't, and we feel completely different.
Yes.
And either we suppress ourselves trying to fit into a model that we just know isn't for us, or we completely rebel, right? And there are consequences that come with that rebellion. So one of the beautiful parts of really embodying our multidimensionality and coming out of the sort of multidimensional closet, as it were, is being empowered to make these decisions that to other people, you know, we might get ridicule, we might get judgment, but to us, it's really part of us stepping into our true power and just saying, well, you know what, this is where I'm at on my journey, and you know, I'm going to embody it. That I think is, for many of us, that is like a rite of passage almost. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. It's like the old parts of us, the old remnants that are still trying to stay in this world with in the 5D vibrational resonance. It's just, we're just saying goodbye to the parts of us, that struggled, that hid, like you say, in the multidimensional, the spiritual closet, and to allow the space for our highest creation, the highest creation of ourselves, of our true selves, to ignite, to be reborn, to be rebirthed.
Exactly.
So it's like the death and the rebirth,
Yes.
you know, and this is very shamanic as well. I also started out, you know, just knowing that I'm a shamanic practitioner, that I have that in my ancestral lineage. I never had proof of it. I never, like my parents never said, oh yes, your great 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 grandmother was a shaman. I never had that. But I did have proof, I did have evidence of ancestral or genetic, genealogical imprinting from my grandfather, my mother's father, because he was sort of like a Reiki healer before anyone even knew about Reiki. He didn't study Reiki, but he just knew that if he had a cut on his finger and he just put the power of his intention and brought in his higher self, that he could heal that wound with his thoughts, with his intentions. And it happened. And he believed in reincarnation, and he, you know, he was very organic in his lifestyle, and he lived to a very ripe old age. And I always remember him because he was really the only one that owned who he really was, his authentic self. Whereas, and even like my mother's mother, also very psychic, didn't own it, wasn't able to, and she actually disowned and disassociated with all of those precious parts of her gifts, her soul strands. And I watched her fall into despair and depression, and I thought, I will never, ever let that happen to me and my descendants. So we have to be the ones to break all of those dysfunctional patterns and limitations for ourselves, for the world, for all of humanity, and for our descendants, to be that example and that role model. But you being an indigo, my son is also an indigo, they already know, like you guys are already born in the 4th and the 5th dimensional frequencies. So there's no way that you could ever even try to make the old paradigm ways work for you, because you're above that, you know. And so you're here as our teachers.
To it. It's like,
yeah,
with all the sensitivities, it's, we might try and, if you know, like your son obviously has chosen, you know, which you were awake and you're able.
We chose each other. Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of indigos, myself included, are choosing parents who necessarily weren't awake. So we have that sort of difficult journey of trying to fit in and
Yes.
trying to use the models and the solutions which are given to us. But it's like it's a complete allergic reaction that has its own consequences. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I actually taught energy healing and Reiki, hands-on healing and psychic development to teens and indigos who are also labeled with these different diagnoses. And it's interesting, they all have abbreviations like PPD, OCD, ADD, ADHD, autism, Asperger's, and anything else you could think of, and put in this box of limitations and made to be numbed and suppressed and shut down and really like made to kind of almost walk around like a zombie, and really it is not okay. And so I created these groups where I would invite families to come in and sit in a circle, in a healing circle, and work on each other. Like the teens would work on their parents and the other adults in the group, and practice scanning, like doing body scanning on the adults, and to really gain confidence. And it really empowered them. Like they are really intuitive. They are really psychic. There is nothing wrong with them. They're not damaged, broken, or defective. There's nothing wrong or bad about them. They're actually, it's like what's right about them. And that was one of the greatest, most rewarding experiences. And yes, what you said is true. As souls on a soul level, we all choose each other. There are no accidents, so that we can complete any karmic lessons and resolve or heal anything unresolved from soul trauma, from past lives, from our ancestral trauma that we are carrying into this lifetime with us. And we call people like me, the parents, like the forerunners. Like we're the old indigos, or like one of the first, I think they also call them like the golden ones. I saw that in some articles. So we're the forerunners, the new wavers, the way showers. So he has me, but he also has his father, complete opposite. So he has two complete contrasting parental role models. Which do you choose? Do you want to integrate a little of this, a little from your mom, a little from your dad? And that's exactly what I think is really happening. He's still, like I've always like encouraged his gifts, his sensitivities, his creative visions, the way he sees things so differently. Indigos are such wise old souls. So I've always encouraged that. But then there are parts of maybe his father that he needs to really like be okay and stay grounded, right? As we ascend from 3D to 5D. So then, okay, there's like practical stuff, like we still have to pay our bills and have a job and, have the finances while we still are in this money system, right? Before we change to that united wealth consciousness, which I hope is going to happen soon.
Yes.
It's really, truly amazing and miraculous what we are capable of.
It absolutely is. And on that note, what would be really cool to hear, Vandana, is your advice for the many people watching who know that they're here for a reason, who know that there is a specific purpose that they've come here, and there is a specific mission, and there are gifts that they are here to deliver into the world, but they're not sure what that is yet, or perhaps they are wondering, asking questions, how can they align with this? What is your advice to these people?
I have a ton of advice, but for the time that we're at right now, I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. Simple. First of all, every day, find at least 10 minutes to sit in stillness, in silence. You can light, a stick of incense, or you can light a white candle. You can put on relaxation music or one of my recordings, and just sit there and ask yourself as many questions as possible. Like, who am I? Why am I here? What do I love to do? What brings me the greatest joy? And then wait for the answer. Don't answer with your head, but drop down into your heart space first. You always, because the answers to who we truly are lie in the wisdom of our emotional intelligence. Our intuitive guidance system is our heart. And this is the new way. This is that ninth wave frequency that I was talking about, that the Mayans are sharing with us, that we're being upgraded and downloaded with. These frequencies of the heart. And the only way we can experience joy is to love ourselves and to feel and allow our feelings. Don't repress, suppress, don't numb yourself out. You don't have to escape. You just have to take all of your special gifts and abilities and know yourself, know thyself. What are you really good at? Are you really good at writing? Like, until I actually took that leap of faith, you know, and really dived into my new life, I wasn't even aware that I was an amazing organizer. I was amazing at marketing, at being event producers, of designing, creating workshops, ideas, of writing, of speaking, of being on radio and TV shows, and creating my own radio and TV shows and interviewing other people. I had no idea. I just knew I was stuck. And I didn't want to be stuck anymore. And I had it, and I was like ready for something, like the biggest, boldest version of me to show up.
Yeah.
And so this is just one example. I know I gave you about 10 bullet points right now. That's really important, to take time to breathe and to unplug from this matrix, from the 3D stuff. Also, really notice who's a vibrational match, who's a divine complement, who does it feel really nourishing and nurturing to be around, to be in their company. Do you have like a friend, or do you have someone you admire that you want to be closer with? Is there a support system, a network, a meetup group? I have 5. You know, that you could just join so you don't feel so different and weird and like out of the loop, you know. That's what I would suggest. And really be around those people who are already holding a higher vibration, already embodying, you know, everything that you desire to show up in your life, right? So it's really important, especially for empaths like us, Ariella, because we're so sensitive, we tend to absorb like a sponge all of the density and duality, all of the chaos, and all of the stress and anxiety, the fear that's out there in the collective, in the tribal consciousness, as we're going through all these changes. It's in the media, it's online, it's wherever we are. So I would suggest to just pull your energy back from people that are not a complement to who you are, right? And just, you could just limit your time with them, because the old friendships are dying anyway. The old people who are not serving the old ways of making a living, anything that feels forced, like you really have to try and effort and struggle to make happen, that means there's something better out there, something bigger that you've been hiding behind. So just unplug from the people, the old friends that make you feel, that judge you, that don't understand you, that don't get you. Because once you say goodbye to the old stuff, the old paradigms, the old friendships that are not serving your highest good, that's when the universe is always watching, always listening,
Yes.
always paying attention. The universe, once you commit and say, yes, I'm ready to step up, the universe will say, okay, here you go. And all of a sudden, all of these magical synchronicities will start to appear in your life without you having to do anything. You're just being you, grounded, centered, connected, present, and expanded to all that is, to all of the parts of you living in other realities, timelines, and dimensions, right? So that you can pull all of your soul pieces back into you, feeling whole and complete, like there's really nothing missing with you, and there never was.
Beautiful.
So that's what I would say. Wait, because all of those amazing people are going to show up in your life to support you, to support why you're here.
That's true. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. Yeah, it's when
amazing.
you move forward, or the forces of synchronicity move forwards with you, right? And your
Yes.
attractive field changes, and it magnetizes to you the people, the places, the things that you need in order to connect with your mission. Beautiful. So much wisdom there. Thank you so much for sharing that all with us. And what I would
You're
love to
welcome.
do now, because I know you are, and Vandana, you are, thank you so much for your highly, highly generous and beautiful, high vibrational free gift that you're offering to everybody who's tuning into this summit.
Welcome. You're
Seriously, guys,
welcome.
Vandana has spent a lot of time, a lot of energy and effort, and the free gift is specifically for this summit.
It
She's
is.
created it specifically for the energy of all of you who are tuning in and watching these interviews. You won't get it
Yeah.
anywhere else. It's made just for you. So I really, really encourage you to take advantage of this and to go on a journey with Vandana. It's all completely free. Would you please just introduce our viewers, just talk to us a little bit about what you've created, because it's amazing.
Yeah, just to make it easier to navigate the new Earth energies of 5D consciousness, of unity consciousness, I put together 5 healing activations and divine light transmissions so that you can be attuned to these higher vibrational frequencies of peace, of harmony, of ease and comfort during these times, because there's a lot of chaotic energies out there, so that you don't get sucked into that black wormhole. All you have to do is listen to a different transmission every day. I would recommend listening to these activations to really relax and unwind. Just be in a very open and receptive state. So I recommend listening before bedtime, because that's when your mind and your mind is quiet, your body is at rest, and all of your chakras are open and aligned, and you can really receive these higher energetic vibrations. And all you have to do is listen to my voice, and behind my words, in that quantum field, that space, consists of all of the light, divine light energies that are coming through my voice, through the sounds of my voice. And it helps you to deeply relax and to let go and to unwind and unravel any tension, stress, anxiety, fear, or worry. A lot of us empaths and sensitive indigos really absorb other people's pain and their problems and their challenges and their wounds. And we take it upon ourselves because we really want to help and heal the world. We don't want anyone else to suffer. But we have to release all of the energies that don't belong to us.
Yeah.
So this way we know what's ours and what's not ours. When you listen to these, I call them divine light infusions, you absorb and you're infused with divine light from the 5D, and also from the inner Earth's crystalline grids, which is now moving upwards into 5D self-mastery, so that you're receiving the light from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. So the inner crystal sun at the very bottom and the core of the earth. And you're also releasing all of the mental stuff, the debris, the density, the clutter, and all of the overwhelm, the triggers, the charges, all of the intensity, the nervousness, right? The details of the mind, that's all being released as well to your guides, your angels, your guardians, and also your Akashic light family that's always with you. So when that's all released, then you can absorb and receive the galactic light. So you're being bathed in this beautiful light from our Earth Mother Gaia, as well as our divine cosmic mothers. So Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin. So it's also allowing, when you listen to these transmissions, it's allowing you to merge and integrate with your divine feminine and divine masculine, to heal all of those ancient wounds from your mothers and fathers, from your female and male. It's opening up all of your ascension chakras and aligning you with the cosmic flow of universal life force. So you can speak the same language as the universe does. So you don't feel like you're fighting a battle or you're going upstream. You're just flowing like the oceans, right?
Wow.
And you're just connected with all of nature, all of life, and all timelines, realms, realities, and dimensions. So it's really about divine alignment with Source.
Amazing. Thank you. Oh my goodness. We are so blessed. That's an incredible free gift. Everybody go and grab that free gift from the free link, which is on the email that you've opened to watch this interview. And what an incredible interview it's been. What a generous soul you are. Thank you so much for everything that you have shared. All of the wisdom, the guidance, being so vulnerable about your own story as well, and for creating that incredible free gift for everybody. We will highly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ariella. It was my honor and my pleasure to create this for you. It really was flowing. I have to say, I've created a lot of gifts and a lot of special offers, you know, for other shows that I've been asked to be on, but something about you, your show, the energy of your show, your soul mission really resonated with me in a very high frequency. And I just felt so clear, like an absolute crystal clear channel of the divine. Even writing and typing the words, it just all came so smoothly and easily. And it felt like just a blessing that I can just bless everyone who needs this encouragement, this empowerment, and this source of inspiration, right, to move to the next level of where they need to be. And so I'm really happy to be that support system, that guide, and that mentor for whoever is available to receive it.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you to everybody who has watched this amazing interview. And please reach out, let me know what you thought to this interview, what has been your favorite part of it. There was so much that was shared, so yeah, looking forward to connecting with you on that and sharing much more with you throughout the whole of this summit. So stay tuned, everybody, and keep watching. There's more incredible experts, leaders, way showers, free gifts. We are being very blessed with this summit. It's an honor to host it and to be a part of it. Thank you again, and we will see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.